What's up, Tea Tribe? This is Alyssa Amoroso, aka Publyssity, who is ready to spill the tea. Because this is Tea with Publyssity. Hello, Tea Tribe. Welcome back to Tea with Publyssity, brought to you by my favorite Tequila Hard Seltzer, Mamitas. As you guys probably know by now, Mamitas is a hard seltzer made with real tequila. I drink it all weekend long. They sent a big shipment to my shore house, so like my parents are full Mamita converts, and it's all we drink. It's only 95 calories, which is the best part. It has 5% ABV, so you know it will get the job done. Not to compare, but there was like another hard seltzer in a cooler because we went to a party. So I brought like a case of Mamitas, and it was only 3% ABV, and Mamitas is 5. And I was like, guys, if you want to get drunk, like drink the Mamitas. And especially now that summer just started, I think yesterday was summer solstice, like the longest day, marks the start of summer. It is the perfect drink. It comes in 4 delicious flavors: mango, pineapple, Paloma, and lime. And you can get it in 4-packs or variety 8-packs. It is mucho delicious. So be sure to get yours and follow them at Drink Mamitas. Okay, guys, let's get into everything. Happy Tuesday. Hey, Mackenzie.
How's it going?
It's going. I had a good weekend. I was at my shore house. Mm-hmm. I made the rookie mistake of, okay, I'm trying to think how to word this. You guys know me. I'm very conscious of like skincare and health and this and that. And I like to wear skincare because now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't want to be a wrinkly old hag.
Right, yeah. You got to like upkeep it.
So I always wear sunscreen no matter what, usually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this weekend, I was like, I just want to be tan. I am sick of looking at my pale body.
Yeah, yep.
So I savagely went to the beach on Saturday with no sunscreen.
Oh, gosh.
I kind of went thinking, oh, I'll apply it when I get there. Yeah. But then as I sat there, I'm just like,
too lazy to put it on.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, you guys. My chest was beet red, like neat fluorescent pink.
Oh my God.
And it's turned a little bit into tan now. I'm still a little pink, but hey, it turns into tan. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Wear your sunscreen.
I would literally be like out of commission if I didn't wear sunscreen to the beach. Like the next day I would just be burnt to a crisp. But I'm also very pale.
You can't really see my chest because the microphone hides it, but it's still a little pink. But so I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that. If this is your first time tuning in, let me just explain how things are going to go today. So we're just going to chat a little bit. Then I will jump into my interview with TikTok sensation, millennial expert, Rod, who has become my friend. Then we will jump into the Ask Alyssa segment where people write in and I give them advice. And then we'll, wrap things up with the Spill the Tea segment where we dish on celebrity pop culture. So I hope you stick around to the end. But I do have a few updates that I want to share with you guys. Let me pull up my little list of things. I genuinely keep a notepad. And as things happen in my week, I just write it down.
Yeah.
So I remember what to update people on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. A funny story from this weekend. We were at a family friend's like barbecue, mm-hmm. and we went home, and my parents stayed. So my sister and my brother-in-law and I went home, and we were just sitting outside on the front steps of our house, just like having a glass of wine. Mm-hmm. And I went in to go to the bathroom, and I'm on the toilet, and I get a text from my sister saying, oh my God, there's so many cops outside. You need to come over, come out. So I come out, and like 15 to 18 cops on bikes.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
Dressed in all black, start speeding down the street, and in like a group of them. And they asked my sister, they were like, have you seen anyone? Oh. And she was like, just my neighbor walking the dog, like nothing crazy. And they were like, keep your eyes peeled. So now we're glued. We're like on the steps.
Yeah.
And we're watching the cops one by one go into every single backyard with guns and what's it called? Flashlights.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going in and out of every backyard. And then finally they were like, you guys should go inside.
Right,
like,
yeah.
And they said to us, they're like, do we have permission to check your property? And we're like, yes, but like the garage is unlocked because our garage is like separate from our house.
Yeah.
So we're like, do you mind checking in there? Like we're a little creeped
Right,
out.
scared.
So they like checked our garage. Everything was fine. It turns out, I think someone robbed a car, like stole a car.
Oh, yeah.
And must have got caught and
Yeah.
took off running and threw the keys somewhere.
Oh my God.
So they were looking for keys. It was like a full manhunt. There was
Yeah.
drones. There were like,
Oh my gosh.
they were on every street.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And we looked it up in the news and like nothing came out.
Of it? Yeah.
Yeah. But we were just like, it was the most action we've ever seen.
Right. Yeah. It's like that TikTok where there's like drama happening and people go outside like pretending that they're cleaning, like they're Swiffering the fence or something.
yeah.
Just so you could stand outside and like listen to the drama that's happening.
That's literally, and then finally the cops were like, please like leave us alone. Like
Yeah.
go inside. But it was going on for so long, none of us could sleep. My sister's like, my adrenaline's pumping.
Right. I know. Yeah. And then you're like worried, like what if they get to you guys?
We also live in such a safe area
Yeah.
that it was like the most drama we'd ever seen.
Right. Exactly. Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Okay, I have an update with you guys. Remember last week I was telling you that a friend wanted to set me up with someone, but he hadn't reached out.
Oh yeah.
He reached out.
Oh gosh.
We're supposed to go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
The last we spoke, we like set a date and he was like, I'll contact you and let you know where. So
okay.
I feel like if I don't hear from him today with a where, it's
Yeah.
probably not a good sign.
Yeah. And you're supposed to go tomorrow. You
Yeah,
said?
tomorrow.
Okay,
So
yeah.
again, I record on Mondays. This comes out Tuesday. So Tuesday,
Okay, yeah.
when you guys are listening to this, I should be going on a date. And I'm also vlogging my week. So if the date does in fact go through,
It'll be in. Like,
I'm going to vlog like getting ready.
yeah. Talk about it.
And so you guys will see everything.
Oh my God.
I liked it because his text messages were just very like short, concise, mature.
Yeah.
Not like, since it's a setup, he wasn't like trying to get to know me too much in text, which I honestly prefer.
Yeah, and it's no matter who it is, it's awkward to try to like make conversation over text anyway.
I just feel like let's just meet and talk about everything in real life.
Yeah, like save it for the date.
That's
almost.
exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind I didn't mind that we haven't had a lot of communication. I actually think that's better.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So hopefully I have something to update you guys
Exciting.
on and vlog about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it should be interesting. I've been obviously doing personal training. I just celebrated 6 weeks
Oh wow.
yesterday.
Oh my
or
gosh.
last week, which was crazy.
I feel like I remember when you first said you were going to start doing it, and it wasn't that long ago.
I know, it's crazy because like I don't really feel like I physically look any different, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But he was going through with me, my trainer Carter. He's very nice, from the Live Method. We were talking about where I started and where I'm at now, and like all of my reps increased, and we started, with like 30 pounds, and now I'm lifting 70.
Yeah.
So it's like everything's
You've
like
improved.
I've really improved, and like I'm feeling stronger. And now what I'm going to start to do is incorporate some of the things that I've learned with him into every day of the week versus just training with him 2 days a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like I trained with him on Friday, and then on Saturday I did like a little workout down the shore, and today I'm going to him, so tomorrow I'll do something at home. Like I'm just starting to, now that I feel stronger, like up what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it's been a great way for me to build muscle after a year of being inside.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I feel like I haven't worked out actually in so long.
Yeah, because it's nice to have someone one-on-one pushing you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like, oh, look at me and tweak my positioning. Whereas if you're alone, like I feel like I hurt myself or I do things incorrectly.
Yeah.
Like he'll be like, oh, you're leaning too much on your heel. Lean more on your toe. Do, like down to the smallest detail.
Yeah, my thing is when I go to the gym, I don't know what to do, because when I was in high school training for sports, and in the summer I would just go to a speed and agility trainer, and I would train with a bunch of other high school kids, and he would just tell us what to do, and we would do the drills and we would lift weights, but it was scheduled thing every time. So now when I do it on my own, I'm just like clueless, because I just wasn't learning. I was just doing whatever they told me.
Yeah, you were just following.
Yeah.
I feel like because what he does with me is very like methodical. Like we start the same, like we always start doing the same type of warm up and stretches.
Yeah.
Targeted towards like my injuries and like my body type.
Right.
And then we go into like something heavier and then we finish with something lighter and then we do cardio and then we do abs.
Yeah.
So now I kind of am like learning the process of what we do.
Yeah.
So I'm able to like do the warm up on my own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like the whole, everything.
So that's been an interesting journey. The self-care scribble notebooks should be coming out soon. I wanted to perfect them for you guys. We will have 2 notebooks, one that says self-care club and then one that says manifest. And I'm hoping that once those come out, we could all commit to doing a little self-care scribble together and journaling, daily, weekly, just kind of motivating each other. We could use the journals to write down our goals, to write down, whether that be like personal goals or financial goals, or if you want to manifest in them, or write down attributes you want in your next boyfriend, whatever it may be,
Who cares?
And so those will be coming out soon. I'm taking my time. And then I'm going to also come out with some new merch pretty soon for you guys, but I want this next merch drop to be like the best ever. So I'm going to be like really particular. I'm meeting with the merch team tomorrow to kind of talk through things. So keep an eye out for that. And if you are watching this on YouTube, I'm wearing the Good Energy Only hat. Everything is available at the link in my bio. If you want to shop my full merch collection, we have the Manifest sweatshirt, we have the Self-Care Club sweatsuit, the Good Energy Only hats, the Underdressed and Stressed merch. So everything is available there. I feel like I don't plug that enough. And then also, guys, follow me on Insta. Let's chat. DM me your Ask Alyssas because they've been so fun. And I love when you guys DM me and we could connect and talk about things. And yeah, let's hop into the interview now with Rod. I thought that the interview was good because it was more serious, which I like. I like to get deep here. I like to talk about mental health and, the side effects that social media has and relationships and this and that. And I was expecting, sometimes you expect people to come on and be this like jokester, but I love when you can get a more serious side of someone out.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of know coming on Tea with Publyssity that they're going to have to talk about their mental health struggles and they're going to have to open up. And I think that's exactly what we got from Rod. And he's someone that remains pretty private in his personal life. So it was interesting to kind of peel back the layers, learn some things about him, ask him about, if he still has a corporate job, what his plans are for social media, hear a little bit about charity, learn about him. So here is the interview with Rod. After that, we will hop into Ask Alyssa and then we will spill the tea. Okay, guys, I am here with Rod. Rod, is your name short for something?
Yes, it's short for Rodney.
Rodney?
Yes.
I've been wondering this. Like, I don't know why, but I'm like, I feel like Rod, if your parents just give you like a 3-letter name, it just can't be. Like, it needs to be short for something.
So my dad's name is Rod, and I always like growing up, I'm like, no, I can't go by my dad's name. But then the older I got, it's just like, it made more sense. It does feel like an older name. Because you said you can't name your kid Rod, but yeah.
Straight out of the womb. It's like, hey, Rod.
Yeah. Well, I have been low-key liking if I like, one of my neighbors named their kid George, and I love it. I'm like, that's such a cute kid's name.
That is cute. Or like people that name their dogs like Antonio, like they give them like
or Kevin. Yeah.
I'm so happy to be connecting. We obviously connected over social media, and you've just like popped off recently. I feel like this hasn't been that long of a journey, has it?
No, October.
So it's really been what is that, like
months.
8 months? Yeah.
What is time anymore? I don't know. I think 8 months.
What made you start posting to TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, we were all in this world of quarantine, right? Where we're all working from home. There's, to be honest, no one monitoring or sitting over your shoulder. I worked at a startup that had open workspace, so it's just like you worked, like you weren't like sitting there scrolling social media or anything like that. And my boss said, like, one time he said thanks period or something like that, and so I made a video about it and it blew up. So I'm like, I was in sales, so I have like kind of this like analyst mindset about me, where I'm like, okay, well, like if this worked, then this must also work. And so I just started like going with it. I'm like, all right, well, I have this anxiety at work. Let's talk about email anxiety. And then people are like, boom, yeah, like I relate to that. I'm like, I'm not alone. And then they're saying the same things, like, I'm not alone. So now we've created this little community of anxious millennials that work in the workplace. I do a lot of like throwbacks too, like content, like songs that like unlock memories, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of a fun time to like relive those traumatic high school experiences.
It's no,
Yeah.
okay. I relate to it so hard because I started in PR and I always worked with like all women when I first started working. And like women are just more emotional, I feel, in the workplace than men. And you could like get their vibe based off like if they have an exclamation mark at the end of their email or if they're just like being short with you or sending you like a K period.
Oh my God.
And I
Triggered.
totally get the email anxiety.
Yep.
Luckily here, like people just text and like sometimes I'll go through days of getting like one email. It's amazing. But it's definitely so relatable. So I see why that like popped off.
Yeah, I think too, it's just, I think it kind of, I've been going through this season, like this past year was hard for everyone, but just for me, just like transitioning into a new season of life, you know, and stuff like that, where like therapy was such a big part for me. So I think that I'm more in tune with my emotions and stuff. So I think maybe it's just refreshing for a guy to see a guy talk about it. Because even like most of my trolls are guys. They're like, bro, like suck it up. And I'm like, there it is. There is the toxic masculinity that I address in my videos.
No, it's so true. And we talk about mental health so much on my podcast. It's like such a big part of, I think this year, especially like you said, just with like COVID and being isolated, and a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people were working from home. Like it's not a normal environment. You don't leave your house. Like now we are a little bit more normal, but we've actually been coming into the office. I've been coming in since January. And for me, I'm like, that has been like a saving grace because I was at the point where I was like, I can't sit in my apartment anymore. So it's great. Like, did you just start going to therapy during this kind of like COVID time?
I started going like 3 years ago. Just because I feel like even I'm 31, so I'm like middle millennial, but even just that age, like growing up, therapy was such a buzzword that like you only went to therapy if you were like, for lack of a better word, like deranged, you know, or just like you were like going to a mental hospital was synonymous with therapy, which also people should, if they feel like that's the step they should take, definitely. But therapy is really for everyone. Like it's just, to me, it was great because it was like an unbiased opinion. It wasn't someone in my friend circle that I feel like no matter who you talk to, you're always going to have your guard up because you're going to feel a sense of judgment. But with my therapist, there was like no judgment, and fell in love, you know. I've been to a couples therapist since then because it's like a relationship as well, right? But it's been great.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan, and I feel like they kind of say that finding a therapist is like dating, where you have to like find the right therapist that like works for you necessarily, like kind of, you know, see if one fits, see if one doesn't. And I feel like I was always going to people that I felt like I was kind of just like talking and like nothing was ever getting accomplished. And now my latest one, she'll be like, let's dig into that a little bit deeper. And I'm like, whoa.
Or like push you out of your comfort zone. At first I was like, I don't like this. And then I'm like, wait, like why am I talking to her, you know?
I know.
Or it's even like for me, like I felt I resonated more with a female than a male, and things, little like nuances like that are important because you want to feel comfortable, right? So
no, it's so true. And I think that's interesting that people troll you for being like anxious at work, because to me it's such a it's so innate for me to be anxious over emails and stuff that I'm like, wait, everyone doesn't feel this way.
Yeah, like right, and that I think was the most shocking to me, is because no one I worked with, like it's so funny that I'm talking to you even right now, because everyone that I worked with was like your classic like barstool guy. You know, if you're gonna, if you know, like they still wear their college polos 10 years later, you know, in the office and stuff like that. Which to me, those were historically the people like in high school that like bullied me, and so that was like the trauma that my therapist and I were working like, well, they're not doing it now. I'm like, I know, but so the people like that, when they send me a K period or a thanks period, it's like just like a frenzy. But even then, like these people were like, wow, yeah, I relate to you. Like my coworkers that I'm good friends with, that like I had no idea they felt this way because they keep it so tight. But I think I've pushed some people in my life out of their comfort zone as well to be a little more honest with themselves, which is cool.
No, I think that's really cool. And I think whenever you have a man that's talking about taboo topics, I think that's why people like you rise to like fame or notoriety so quickly, because it's like, oh, wow, a lot of men don't talk about these things.
Yeah, there's my favorite author. His name is Lewis Howes, and he wrote a book called The Mask of Masculinity. And he talks all about, he's a former sports player, all this stuff, but he was just like, I felt like even then I had to wear this mask. There's like 5 different masks he talks about with masculinity, but this mask of like that I need to like sports, and I need to like every sport, and I need to know everything about every sport, or else I'm not masculine. I don't like sports at all. Like I like the Cubs because it's like a camaraderie here in Chicago, or I'll like go to the Super Bowl like a party or something like that, or just like go to watch the game, but I'll scroll my phone, to be honest. But that made me more comfortable even in situations like that. It's like, why are you like stressing yourself out, forcing yourself to talk about something, or like to be invested in something that isn't you?
Do you feel that pressure from social media to like, I feel like now more than ever, like people of all different like types or personality traits are accepted, but do you feel like people are like, oh, like this isn't like bro-y enough, or this isn't like masculine enough?
Like I said, I get trolls in my DMs. It's like, oh, so you just listen to radio Disney Bops all day? It's like, yeah, they're awesome. Like
I love it.
They love it. And I will be honest, 85% of my following is women, so I think that's why honestly, compared to probably even like you've been doing this for a while, you know, and you've probably gotten your fair share of haters or whatever you want to call them. But like for how many people I reach, I will say that I probably get like 1%.
Yeah.
That are trolls, which is great, you know, because I'm not talking about anything too controversial,
No.
you know, which there are people out there who do, and good for them that they have the ability to do that. But I'm just like, you know what, like what I'm talking about doesn't need to be controversial. So it's like,
it's
I'm sure
fun.
if it did, then it's, yeah, exactly. My main goal with all of this, the past year, I've said 2 things. Like, I just want to make people smile, and I want to use my platform for good, which is like last month, actually we're rolling over a little bit into this month, but I raised $10,000 for Jed Foundation, which is a foundation that's super near and dear to my heart because it goes over mental health, and they have a division that talks about bullying and all this stuff. Where I did a merch sale where I donated 100% of my proceeds from my merch sale to the bullying movement, which is just like,
wait, that's incredible,
insane. Yeah, it's like that is the type of thing that I want to do with this platform.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I want to dig into what you're doing now for work.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I guess you're at the point where it's like social media, TikTok, like this can be a full-time thing for you. Is it? Have you taken that leap?
So my followers would be interested to know,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you got this question, is I'm no longer working with my old company. I was in sales for a logistics company, which, as sexy as that sounds, I love my coworkers too. It wasn't something I was passionate about.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing TikTok and social media full time. I'm working on some other things as well. Where again, I'm taking the funds that I'm getting, I'm donating and like working with charities, and I do want to start my own charity soon. And I'm looking for a new job as well, but I've never had a time of, I don't want to say unemployment because I'm working, like I'm actually more busier now than I was before. But I've never had a time where I've been my own boss, you know, or like had control of my own time. So that's been really interesting to be a part of.
It's definitely going to be a challenging time.
Yes.
Like, because I've done it. And like, as nice as it is, it comes with, you know, pros and cons.
Absolutely.
It's difficult and it's overwhelming. Like I was very stressed from it, I feel.
Yeah. So how this all came about, and I haven't even talked about this yet, but I'm really excited too because it's going to release soon, was able to do this like production in Italy for coffee, which is just so on brand. And I went to my boss, I'm like, so I'm going to do this. And he's like, okay. So what do you want to do? And he was like, well, you can come back. Like you can come back. I was in sales. So it's just like, when you're in sales, you're making money when you're working, right? So that's what it's like. It wasn't like I was dropping projects or anything like that. But then I was at this time where I'm like, is this what I want to do though? You know, like now I have the time to focus on something else. And yeah, it is stressful because the first day I got back from Italy, I sat in front of my computer and I was like, why am I sitting here? But it was almost like a Pavlov dog situation where just like I woke up in the morning and I had to autopilot. I had to like sit down in front of my computer and just like sit there and stress that nothing was going on. You know,
it's kind of that anxiety thing where you're like, like for me, I noticed mine kind of manifested when I started working from home. I was like, okay, I need to get up early because if I allow myself to sleep in every day, I'm not going to do anything. Like, so you almost then have this pressure. Like, I was up way earlier than my friends who were going into offices because I was putting this like pressure on myself to like wake up, make the day count, get out of bed. And everyone's always like, why are you up at 6:30? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
it's happening.
I'm like, I can't sleep because then I like, beat myself up if I'm like sleeping until 9. So it's this weird thing, right?
It's the autopilot, right? It's good because like here you are back in the office, you know, so I'm sure it's like you don't have to get back into an old habit, you're already in it. But yeah, I think for me, even as like why is the day, even for me now, has to start before 9. It's like I'm my own boss, but it's like no, but I have to start the day at 9.
It has to.
Has to start at 9, even though I'm working later. She's like, but it has to start at 9.
No, that's how I am too. It's weird. It's because you almost have to set boundaries for yourself because there is no one like holding you accountable for your schedule. So it's like you're on yourself to keep yourself like accountable, really.
Exactly. And it's so interesting to do. And so I don't think if I would have been in sales, I would have been able to do it, because when you're in sales, you kind of are your own boss. Of course, you're on like teams and stuff. But I did have more control of my own day rather than like being in meetings all day created for me. So it wasn't that huge of an adjustment. I think just the biggest adjustment was just like not having to check in with anyone.
Yeah,
because these anxieties that people see on my TikTok are real. Like my boss, even working from home, probably my least favorite message I got working from home was a Slack message at like 3 p.m. when it was like a little more of an unproductive day. It was just like, what did you work on today? It's like, they know I didn't do anything. They know I absolutely didn't. So then you just have to like cram as much as you can in 2 hours. And then it's just like, I don't know. That was probably the most stressful.
No, that is the worst feeling. I completely relate to this because I'm that person. I think it also goes with like, I want people to think I'm good at my job and I hold myself to certain standards. So I'm like, I don't want you to think I'm slacking. It's so funny because I don't, even though I work with like for a company now, I don't report to anyone at all. Like no one cares what I do. They're like, make money, do your thing. I have full creative control. But the other day I looked at the guy next to me, Kevin, who's been here for like since the inception of Barstool. And I looked at him and I was like, Kevin, I just want to like send someone like an update to let them know what I've been up to so they know I'm working hard. Who do you think I should email it to? And he's
their
like,
gratification.
Yeah, he goes, you don't need to do that. I'm like, but I just want people to know I'm not just sitting here all day like twiddling my thumbs.
Oh my God, that is so. Why do you think there's like awards out there? Because that's what's like pushing us, right? It's like, oh my God. I did this video the other day that was like, why do we say work hard, play hard? Why can't we like work what we're paid for? And then
so true.
Well, like, why do you have to play hard anyway? It's just like, it's stressful to do that. What's your sign?
I'm a Capricorn, obviously. Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. I just know signs based on like what my friends are.
No, Capricorns are like the workhorses. What's yours?
And very entrepreneurial, right?
Yeah.
Capricorns. Yeah. I'm a Gemini.
And so, Gemini. Even my personality type too. Like I've done the Enneagram test, and like I'm a 3-wing 2, and that's also entrepreneur. Like it's like every single thing about me.
I'm a 2-wing 3, so we're pretty similar.
Oh,
right?
that's so funny.
Yeah.
So like literally everything about me is to a T what they say. And it's like careers you should go into. It's like Publyssity, on-air hosting, radio.
Literally your name. Yeah.
Like,
love it. That's amazing.
Sounds right.
Yeah. And I feel like even for me, it was like with being a Gemini, like, oh, Geminis do well in sales because you adapt quickly. Like, oh, okay. So
it's so funny because it makes you kind of feel a little bit like, oh, I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I remember in junior high, I should do a video on this. Like you're taking a test at like just at the library. I was like, what career should you go into? And mine was a doctor. And I'm like, what? Who would I be working on? Like, what kind of nonsense is that? Come on now. But then we had it in our heads like, I'm gonna fail if I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
and I was like, I was failing science and math, which is like the two. I'm like, I'm going to be homeless, you know?
Yeah, I'm not cut out for this.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of what you talk about is like millennial culture. And I just did a funny video about how like platform heels are back in all of a sudden. I'm like, are you kidding me? I literally donated mine like 10 years ago. And now you want me to bring these things back? Like, I can't
Steve
keep
Madden
up.
chunky sandals.
Yes.
You remember those?
They're back.
Those were so dirty. I just remember even like going to thrift stores now, you see them and they're just like dirty, like dirty black sandals.
Well, this is the thing. It's like everything from the 2000s is coming back, and it's like we all unanimously have agreed that that was the worst time in fashion. And now Gen Z is bringing these things back. Like everyone's wearing like plastic jewelry again. I remember going through my plastic jewelry, like, you know, again, like 5-6 years ago, being like, I'm throwing this out and I hope it never comes back in style because what were we thinking? And now it's back and all my friends are getting plastic jewelry and I'm like, I just don't know if I could do it. So tell me, like, what do millennials need to be on the lookout for? Because my audience didn't even know what Cheugy was. I had to inform them.
So Cheugy is a completely made up word that honestly I'm just having fun with now, but people are just like so pressed about it.
So
like,
pressed.
Like, why can't people like things? I'm like, okay, you guys bullied our parents off Facebook, so like, chill. I think millennials, they need everything's coming. Literally today, someone is like, check this out. Von Dutch hats are coming back.
Yep.
Like, what? Like, I hadn't even thought about those since high school. That wasn't even something like rolled into college. And I think we're seeing a resurgence of these artists, especially with social media. It's so easy, not easy, but it's useful. Like Shania Twain was brilliant about it. She got on TikTok. She started like blowing up Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Party for Two, like her hits. And now she's releasing new music. Natasha Bedingfield is blowing up on TikTok because she's leaning into every trend that uses her song. But now she's like, hey, I'm back. I'm here. Kesha's doing it. But I know like Skrillex is probably going to be doing it soon. You know, like there's just like people, I think it's going to be more personalities that we're seeing, or like the resurgence of J-Lo and Ben.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's a good one. Yeah.
But then I'm also wondering, like, is this that feels new to us? Like, but if you look at our parents, like, even now the crown's still relevant. I remember how obsessed my mom was with Princess Diana.
Obsessed.
You know, obsessed.
Yeah.
But now we're obsessed with it. So I think that's just going to be something. It's just like it's so much easier to blend generations now with social media and with the internet. Where before it was like, nope, this is literally staying here because it's only on paper. Where now it's like, access to everyone.
Even like Travis Barker and Machine Gun Kelly, like that whole,
oh my God,
like their
Can you
music.
Explain it? I understand. I know obviously who Travis Barker is.
Yes.
I know who Machine Gun Kelly is, but I'm seeing Travis Barker's ex-wife roasting everyone.
Yeah, she's out of control.
What is she saying?
Him and her, Shanna, Shanna and Travis had a show together on like a network, a reality show years ago.
Like Brittany and Kevin did.
Yeah, I watched it, but I don't remember anything now. But basically, like, she's just like wilding out. Like, the kids live with Travis, and she's basically like, well, they live with their dad because he's like richer than me. But the kids' whole narrative is like, no, we don't actually talk to our mom. So no one knows if what she's saying is like actually, if it has any weight to it or not, because whenever she speaks, then the kids and Travis are like, no, that's actually not the truth. So she keeps going live every night and just like ranting about it and airing out her dirty laundry, but none of the stories are matching up.
She should go on.
It's crazy.
She should replace Trisha on Frenemies.
Well, oh my God, yes. And also now she's launching an OnlyFans. So it's like,
who else? What's the Teen Wolf guy that has an OnlyFans? That shocked me.
Wait, he does?
Tyler Posey.
Tyler Posey has an OnlyFans?
He's like the face of OnlyFans. It's like, but I think he's making it cool.
Does he get full nude, do you think?
I haven't done that much research into it, but I've just
I'm just really curious.
I'm doing research, for my Millennial recaps and stuff.
Wait, I really need to know if Tyler Posey's like naked on OnlyFans. I also need to know. I hear that like Tyga's the biggest like OnlyFans guy.
What? Okay. It's just
fully nude, everything.
Oh my God. It's just crazy. It's just like that. Again, the internet is just like everything is accessible to everyone.
Tyler Posey's blowing my mind right now because like I watched Teen Wolf and I think of him as like a child.
I think of him as Made in Manhattan. He's J-Lo's son and Made in Manhattan.
Wow, I can't. Yep. I need to go Google this later.
Yeah, be careful.
All of a sudden, I'm going to pay like $19.99 and be on like Tyler Posey's OnlyFans.
Barstool's going to be like, what are you doing on the pod today? Yeah, what did you work on today?
That's so funny. Okay, so we need to be aware of freaking low-rise jeans coming back in.
Low-rise jeans are coming back. The thin eyebrow,
I heard this.
Bonquiqui style is coming back.
I'm not bringing it back. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely not. The thing that sucks is because I'm recapping this, and I just want my audience to know is like I'm not misogynistic. It's just I have 85% of my following is females, and these are the trends. As far as
Yeah.
like male trends, I think it would just be like baggy jeans are like seem to be making a comeback. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's an
then
interesting thing you bring up because I like did a video at the office one time asking guys to talk about like new trends that were coming back in, and everyone was commenting with negative, like, why should men give opinions on women? And I was like, whoa, 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 this was not meant to be that way. Because
yeah,
I used to do videos like that with my dad, where
yeah,
I would show my
yeah.
dad my outfits and be like, Dad, what do you think of this? And he would be like, that outfit's hideous, and it was
Yeah.
funny, and people loved it. So I was like, oh, let me do it with other guys, and then the feedback was different. So that's funny.
It's no
you
different
say
than a
that.
girl roasting a dude's dating profile. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
I was like, it's
Which
not
is
that
funny,
deep.
which is also funny to me. It's like, yeah, it's not that deep. That's my favorite saying, and it's saying to everyone, it's not that deep. Yesterday, I posted a recap, and I pronounced Oregon Trail is what I said.
Yeah.
Oregon. I don't think I've ever gotten so much hate in my life.
What is it? Because I would have said Oregon too.
The entire state of Oregon.
Oh.
But I think it's pronouncing with the trail part. It's Oregon Trail in Oregon.
Oh my
The entire
God.
state of Oregon came for me in my comments. The entire state. I think they sent a mass wide like iPhone alert saying everyone please go to this TikTok and comment on it. It was just so funny.
Well, the state of New Jersey is coming for me, so.
Oh yeah, because
I did a video on like the Jersey mom uniform. I was like, because I was at a bar this past weekend, and I looked around, and I'm like, every single mom right now in this bar is wearing the same freaking outfit. It's like wedges, the same watch, like they're wearing a David Yurman ring. They have like a fake tan, a cross necklace with diamonds.
just
So
a Teresa Giudice
exactly.
central, yeah.
So I made a video about it, and people are like, I'm a mom and I don't own any of those things. I'm like, relax. Like, I just said it was an observation based on where I was. I'm not speaking for the entire state of New Jersey. Like,
Right. It's not that deep. Yeah,
it's not
I
that
think
deep.
we can move on after this. But yeah, I had a one where I posted a trend of a TikTok dance trend that I did where I'm like me at a party picking up my kids at a party in 2040, which is what? That's
20 years away.
19 years away.
Yeah.
If I have a kid in 5 years, I'm going to be picking up from a party then.
Yeah.
The moms, I lost followers. Like, I'm unfollowing you now.
Wait,
Because
why? I don't get
my kid is going to be 40 then. It's like, okay, well, like, I think the internet's also a hard place because everyone thinks that their mindset is the only mindset. Or
And
like
they
their,
think your
their
video's
person's the only
targeted.
person.
Like, they think
Exactly.
it's a personal attack on them.
Yeah.
You know what I
which-
mean? It's like, this is a broad statement.
Yeah, truly. It's like there can't be a broad statement on the internet.
It's
But
so
so
great.
funny.
Yeah, I've learned people are so. Now I used to get like pressed, and now I just leave it. I'm like, whatever, just comment and fight in my comments and do your thing. Like, again, it's not that deep.
Not that deep. That's insane. Yeah.
No, I absolutely love it. So you answered most of my questions, but I did have people write
good.
in, and like it was all like, the same 5 questions. Like, is he working still? The same thing.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you a few.
Sure.
They're all, I'm not even joking when I say they were the same 5 things.
That's
What does he do
hysterical.
for work? And then other people just being like, I love him so much. I don't care what you ask him. I just want him on the podcast.
That's amazing. I think I have the most wholesome audience too, because I
so
talk about
wholesome.
anxiety, and people when they give me feedback or if they say something like, "Sorry, I don't mean to stress you out even more, but here's like a suggestion." Like that's just like I would rather have that than those are my trolls. People who apologize after they troll.
No, I've gotten people with like constructive like feedback, and I'm like, okay, that's really nice. Okay, I don't know if you could answer this one, but maybe you could tease a little something. People just want to know how you know Lance Bass.
Through TikTok. That's just the craziest part. Is he followed me on TikTok. I post a lot of instant content, right? So, then I had my people contact his people. No, I went to LA and I was just like, how cool would it be to hang out with Lance Bass because he's so active on TikTok and it would be mutually beneficial, right?
Yeah.
He's one that like is leaning into nostalgia the appropriate amount, but I don't know if everyone knows this. He's a brilliant businessman. If you've been to LA, he owns one of the biggest restaurants in WeHo. He owns multiple restaurants in WeHo. He donates so much money to charity. So much money. And then he treats his employees well. He fosters dogs. When I was there was like 5 dogs he's fostering. He's just an amazing human. His husband's an awesome artist. So I think that was really cool to see too. It's just like this person that I had in my mind as a childhood, you know, just like boy band star, is like an amazing human. That was so rewarding to see. You know, it wasn't like someone who like a celebrity that they're obsessed with and then they're rude to them. It was just someone who was just like, first of all, wanted to meet me, and second of all, was just doing amazing things.
I've heard nothing but nice things about him, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and he's obsessed with The Bachelor, which is really funny too.
Wait, someone wrote a Bachelor-related question that I just saw.
Yes, I love
Thoughts
talking about
on the man that dressed as a cat?
I love him. He's my number one. He is my number one.
You like the cat man?
Oh my God. At first I was like, so I do these, I had not watched The Bachelor. I watched one season of The Bachelor like 10 years ago. I watched one Pablo season.
Oh yeah. Wait, you want to hear a fun fact?
Yes, of course.
I got a callback for Juan Pablo season.
Oh my God. Glad you
and
avoided
I didn't
that.
go. I literally ghosted them.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I didn't want to date him. So I was like, I don't want to go on a show and be fake.
Yeah, I like, so my college roommate and I, we each picked one girl. That was our first, we just randomly came upon the show and we're like, okay, we're just gonna pick one girl, and whoever's girl goes out first, we're gonna stop watching it. I picked Andy and he picked Nikki, which were in the top 3.
So so you were all the way through.
Yeah, but I love Andy. She's my favorite. And so then anyways, fast forward, I heard about this Victoria girl from Matt James season. Like, she sounds insane. Let's watch it. And so we watched it, and it was just mind blowing. So I did these recaps, just like started like, who is this? What is it? And then it turned into every Monday thing. People were like, please keep doing it. So now it's an official Bachelor recap. All that to say, at first I did not like the cat guy. I'm like, this guy's trying too hard. I'm allergic to cats also, so maybe it's like a trigger. But knowing Katie, like Katie and I actually like have kind of connected through social media, which is kind of cool. She loves cats. So like he understood the assignment. Like,
fair.
I'm in sales. I get it. You need to do whatever you can in order to stand out. And what did she say? All I can think about is the cat guy. I know he didn't get the rose, but like, good for him. Good for him. I love him.
So, okay, fair enough. I think cat guy, not in uniform, like may grow on me. Uniform, costume, may grow on.
No, he wears it every week. No.
Like, maybe he'll grow on me because I'm sure he's like a nice guy. Me personally, and I agree, it worked for Katie. If I'm the Bachelorette and cat guy comes on my season, he's out. We're not talking.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm not a cat girl.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like, you have to understand the assignment. Yeah. And probably, to be honest, we didn't know how The Bachelor works. That probably wasn't his idea. I know the RV guy, that wasn't his idea. They just staged it.
But when they're kissing and like the mittens on her face, I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah, but she was into it, man. But I will say something, and mark my words. I know we loved him, but I think Greg is sus. I think he's sus. I don't know.
Wait, so okay, I'm just such a girl because like I'm watching the show and here's Greg and like this is like his social media, like he looks very attractive on the show. His hair wasn't really my type, but whatever. So I'm like just watching it. I'm like, oh, he seems like nice and nerdy. I'm every girl. I'm the consumer because we all were thinking this. Greg goes super viral. I'm getting all these DMs from people because he's from the New Jersey, New York area. Turns out no one has a bad thing to say about him.
Oh.
People are like, he's very nice. Like, and I got probably like 10 DMs of people like, I went to high school with him.
Well, now I feel bad because I blew him up on my Twitter. I don't know. I'm sticking by it. I mean, I got to stick by it. No, I think that is one thing that's interesting. Like being this is like, I'll talk about something and then like the amount of people that have a personal story about a celebrity. I'm like, this is tea.
Sometimes I feel like I know too much.
Yeah, and this is your brand. Like you talk on things, or like you predicted the Arena Kanye thing or whatever. You know, it's just like that.
And like I like to know, but sometimes I'm like, I know too much about this person's like personal life now that I don't need to know.
There's even one yesterday that my friend, who I love her to death, but she was like, I didn't even see him on the screen yet. She goes, we hate him, and this is why. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay. So I saw him come on, and I just, we hate him. You know, it's like, oh.
Well, that's the thing, because people DM me stuff, like dirt on people, and now I'm like, no, I can't stand them. They're an awful human. But it's not showing that on like the screen, but I have this like preconceived notion of them, and I'm like, that's not fair either. Like, I just almost don't want to know. It's like, it's just better for me to just be like someone watching the show.
Yep. Exactly.
Wait, we should go live after The Bachelor one night on TikTok and like recap it.
Let's do it. We'll recap oh my gosh. We're the new frenemies.
Right?
Except we like each other.
Yeah, of course. Well, because we're both similar Enneagrams.
Yes, I'm actually super bummed though that Trisha's leaving. It's
Yeah, what do
unfortunate,
you?
but
So I don't watch or listen to Frenemies.
I
I
just see
just
it on
know that
TikTok.
it's like a podcast. Trisha's on it, and now she's stepping
Brilliant,
away.
brilliant podcast though. It's like Trisha, who is like Playboy Bunny, what Paris Hilton acted to be in real life.
Queen of controversy.
Queen of controversy, like where racially profiles no one does anything about it. And then what is his name? Ian? No, Ethan.
Ethan.
They do the show. He's just like a smart comedian. They didn't know each other before the show. They started doing the show, and then it blew up because they have real on-air fights because they're like complete polar opposites, but then they're also best friends. So that's why it's unfortunate she's leaving, because people are like, wait, are they not talking anymore because their relationship is so like unique?
Wait, that's so... Well, then the name of the show just fits the dynamic perfectly.
Exactly.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I feel like, she'll be back doing something else, though. She's like... She'll always be around.
Yeah, oh my God. She's like... I think her cancel rampage, too, is just so strong. She's like, who else today? Who are we going to wake up and cancel today? And she literally just did it. She was smart. She like hung out with that entire crew, the Vlog Squad or whatever, which I did not follow any of them. Like, why is David Dobrik?
I feel like we're too old for the, like, I kind of feel like I missed this whole like YouTube generation. Like, obviously I know like the Paul brothers and stuff, but I didn't grow up like religiously watching their videos. I feel like because I'm 30, I feel like I'm a little too old to like have been as in it. But now I find myself, because of TikTok, getting the download on everything.
Yeah, I think I watched Vine, and the Paul brothers got big on Vine. And I just hate how glorified they are for how they treat people.
Yeah.
Particularly women, but that's just the world, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like that's just, again, with social media, it's like if you do it smart, they did it smart. They transcended where there's Vine stars who like only relied on Vine, and then look where they're at now. It's just like they're not nothing, but they just don't have a following. It's because you have to be smart. At the end of the day, as much as people hate to hear it, it's got to be a business if you want it to go somewhere.
No, it's so true. I can't believe Vine even went away. Like, that was the best freaking platform ever.
But they didn't even tell their creators. They just like
didn't it just go away one day? Their
creators just tried to log on the app and couldn't. And that was more of a curated group of creators, not like TikTok where anyone could go viral. Like, I would like. It's not like TikTok said this dude is going to go viral. You have to be smart about the algorithm and all of that, but at the end of the day, it's for anyone.
Yeah, that's so true. That's why I think I like the people I meet on TikTok better than the people that I've like become friends with on Instagram throughout the years, because I was like doing this on Instagram for like 5 years before TikTok, and the people that I'm meeting on TikTok are just like regular people that happen to go viral, whereas the people I was friends with on Instagram, like we all tried to make like this curated profile and this curated look, and it was just like way more thought out and like plotted, whereas the people on TikTok are just like being themselves.
So raw.
Yeah. It's so much better.
Yeah, even if you see it's so funny, like there's people on TikTok who people find their Instagrams and like, this is you, and it's like literally a model on Instagram and a troll on TikTok.
But I feel like even for me, my content started resonating more when I like showed more of my personality, because like Instagram, it's such a facade. Like I was doing those things because that was what was getting me paid partnerships, and that was paying my bills. So it's kind of like, I get why Instagram has become that way, because if you're an influencer, you're relying on your content to look a certain way to pay your bills. But TikTok, you get rewarded for being yourself.
But now Instagram's realizing it, because even like the sponsorships that I'm working with are more of, we want to see you. Yeah. Which before it was like, I have not posted I've done a couple of Instagram partnerships, and I've not posted a single static post or a single like still frame on my Instagram, which I think is really cool, because I'm like, that's not me. Like, why would I put
I was looking for a picture of you to put on my story, and I was like, he doesn't have one freaking picture.
I don't have a picture. Yeah, it's because like that's because in my video you see personality, right? Which I probably will end up posting some pictures down the line. But my dream is to, like, I feel like I'm Nick Miller in a world of like CCs. If we're gonna compare it to me, it's just like literally like models are following me, and like, or like people, I'm kind of people like you, and like I'm sitting in the office that I work in, which is my bedroom, and it's just like, this is my life. But I would love to one day, I don't know why this is resonating me, do either like Vogue level cover or like Gucci ad,
that would
and
be
just
sick.
like, but still being myself somehow.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that would come to fruition.
No, that
but,
would actually be insane. I
Yeah.
see big things in your future. I think this
Oh.
is just the beginning.
Thank you.
I want to ask you one last question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do the people in your life think about all of this?
Yeah, at first it was really, it wasn't hard for them, but it was more of just like, what? You know, it was like, even my friends, we all went to dinner the other night, and they're my best friends, you know, like brothers to me. But it was just like a group of us went to dinner, and one of our other couple friends are moving to Colorado, and so one final dinner, and we're leaving this, like, we just got like a wine room. We're leaving the wine room, and then a girl at the table goes, "Is that Rod?" Like whispers to her friend, and then my two friends heard it, and they go, "Whoop!" And they're like, which they're pumped I was gonna be on your podcast as well too. They listen to you, but they're like, "Yeah, that's Rod, Rod!" And like yelled, the entire restaurant stopped, all this stuff, and then we literally walk out. This doesn't happen to me that often, but it's just so funny. It happened to me, of course, when they're with me. And then we walk out of the restaurant, and this girl drives by in her car, freaking paparazzi style, like going, "Rod," and I'm like, I was like, "What?" I was like, "How did you know I was here? Like, what?"
I actually got that the other day. I was crossing the street and someone yelled in their car, "Publyssity T-Tribe!" Like as she drove by, and I was like,
amazing. But no, that's amazing. But to answer, I guess to answer your question is like at first like what, like this, but then I think now they're saying that it's, first of all, I have never been a creative before, but now I'm like I'm writing. You know, I'm like, to be honest, it's not anything major yet, but I'm like writing a TV show. You know, like that's so cool. Like these are the things that I'm like, 8 months ago I would not have even imagined I would be here. So I think they're starting to appreciate it a little bit more.
I think that's really cool. Yeah, people, I think social media is kind of hard for people to grasp at first, or like people that can't imagine putting themselves out there are kind of like, how are you putting yourself out there? I think it's a lot of that. Like it's so out of people's comfort zone that they're like, I don't understand how you're able to do this. You know?
Exactly.
I got a lot of that. Like my sister even is like way more private than me, and we have the same interests, but she would never like put them out there. Whereas I'm like, this is what I love. Like,
yeah, my brother and I are completely like that too. It's like yesterday, he's a huge Cubs fan. Yesterday, the Cubs sent me a limited edition jersey, which I'm a Cubs fan. Like, it's the only team I watch. And my brother, I sent it to him, and he's like, maybe I should make a TikTok. I'm like, yeah,
into it now.
yeah.
Yeah, when they get the benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, Rod, it was so great speaking with you. Thank you for coming on Tea with Publyssity.
Yeah. This was amazing. We should definitely do it again when I'm in New York.
Yes, and we're going to do a Bachelor Live.
Yes, we are going to do that.
All right, amazing. Thank you. Okay, guys, time for my favorite advice segment, Ask Alyssa. As a reminder, if you guys want to send in a question, feel free to DM me on Instagram at Tea with Publyssity or at Publyssity. Everything will always be kept anonymous, and I will do my best to give you sound advice. So definitely don't forget to submit. And as a reminder, everything is always anonymous. Ask Alyssa. Hey, Alyssa, I've been loving your podcast and advice and was hoping you could help with something. I've had the same main group of friends since high school, but recently we've all been drifting apart. One is getting married soon, and one is ready for babies. One is moving to the suburbs, and one is really into her job and boyfriend and makes that her priority, which is totally fine, just giving context. And then there's me, who's still enjoying life in NYC. Girl, same. It's becoming increasingly hard to all get together, and I'm noticing that when we do, it's much more strained and not like the fun, wild times we had in our early/mid-20s together. It feels like we don't have as much in common, and I feel like I'm the last one trying to keep the friendship going. My question is, should I let it go and appreciate the friendship for what it was, still get together a couple times a year, but not try to make the group text happen? I'd love to know your thoughts and think this may help others. I am in the exact situation as this person writing in.
Yeah.
So just for context, I grew up in New Jersey. I have a group of about 7 or 8 best friends, and I would say 90% of us went to preschool together.
Yeah.
And then the rest of us met in elementary school.
Yeah.
So like we have been friends since we were 2.
So long.
Like really, really, really lifelong friends. That said, we are in so many different life stages.
Right.
One moved to Charleston. One moved to New Jersey in the suburbs.
Yeah.
One is also living home in New Jersey because she's pursuing acting. And like we've all taken these different life paths.
Yeah.
And then a few of us live in New York. One just moved to DC. So we're all on completely different paths. But I think when you have that history with people, you can't replicate that. Like you can make friendships in life, later in life. Like my friend Jill, who's like my best friend, I only met probably 5 years ago at work, but we've been able to forge such like a sister-like bond. Whereas my other friends, we are like family because we've known each other since we were children, like infants.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay that you guys are in different stages. And I think it's okay if you only get together a few times a year. Me and my friends, we don't have our crazy party times like when we were in our 20s, coming underage into the city, going to bars, sleeping on people's couches, and just being like absolutely crazy. But when we get together, there's so much history that we laugh our ass off remembering those times. And like our get-togethers just look a little bit different now.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way. Like we still enjoy each other. And at some point, I think you have to be like, this is their path and this is my path, and maybe we're on different paths, but in a few years you're all going to be on the same path again. And I think that's just what happens in your 20s and you know, like mid to late 20s. Everyone starts just going in different directions. And I felt this more a few years ago. Now I've kind of come to terms with it more. I think when my friends started first getting relationships or moving out, I was like, I don't have anyone. Like I was just feeling that way.
Yeah.
My biggest suggestion to you is to find party friends. I've been saying this for a while, but I want to do a podcast on the levels of friendship.
Yeah.
Like you have your friends that you grew up with. You have your party friends. Those people fill a void in your life. It's not that you don't love them. It's not that you don't have a good time with them, but they're your social friends. You both need to be friends at the same time because you need people to be social with because you're single.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have like, you know, just your work friends, your
college friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think maybe you have to find friends in New York City that are your age that you can go out with. You could try to meet guys with. You could be more on that party level together.
Yeah.
But always treasure those friendships that you grew up with and just enjoy your time when you're with them instead of wishing it was a different way, because unfortunately, like we're just at that weird time where our lives are all just moving at different paces.
I also think some of my best friends are the types of friends where you don't see them for a couple months or however long, but then when you get back together, it's like no time had passed. And like that's when you know that's like truly your best friend. Like it doesn't matter, or maybe you haven't even like texted in a while, or you'll catch up here and there, but the second you're back together, it's like nothing had ever happened. Like you've been together the whole time.
100%. I totally agree. And I feel that way with my friends. Like it's just one of those things that you're going to go through these like hiccups kind of. And we're all just at that age where everyone's life is moving in a different direction. And it's weird because you're the same age, but you're in different stages.
Yes. Yeah.
That's 100%. The weirdest part.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that helps you. Ask Alyssa. Hi, love you. My question is if you have any advice for balancing a full-time job and a side hustle. I recently started working full-time at a creative agency where I work long hours and it's pretty high stress / client facing. On the side, I have a podcast and small TikTok following. Since I started this job, I feel so exhausted. It's hard to put time and energy into my side hustle. And my podcast community makes me so happy that when I'm not active with it, it makes me even more sad. Basically wondering advice on balancing so many things while also making time for mental health. So, and then she wrote back a few days later saying, bumping my last question, would also love your advice on setting boundaries with work. I usually work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. because I have so much to do and I'm in meetings all day. I want to start limiting my time working, but I'm worried I won't get things done. This is tough.
Yeah.
But I've also been in this situation.
Right. Yeah, literally.
It's funny because every question so far, I'm like, oh, yeah.
I've experienced this. I got it.
Let me tell you. So I launched my blog, Publyssity.com, at the time when I was a full-time publicist. So that was my side hustle. It originally started as a hobby, and then it quickly grew into something that I was able to monetize and became a full-time, well, a side job, I guess I would say. And for me, what I did was, like, I can only speak from my experience, but we're kind of in similar careers, so maybe I could offer some advice, because I also was working in an agency and then also having a podcast and stuff on the side. What I personally did was I shot with my photographer because I wanted content for Instagram, because that's how I did my paid campaigns. So what I would do was we had the 7 a.m. slot, or the 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. So I would wake up at 6, do my hair, makeup, pack a bag of 3 outfits. We were able to shoot 3 looks within 1 hour, and then we would shoot from like 6:30, or I think I said 7:30 to 8:30, and then I would go straight into the office with that bag of stuff and just lug it to work.
Right.
And then during work, I always had a job that was pretty time consuming. I'm a fast worker, so that's one of the things where I feel like I'm actually really able to get a lot of work done because I'm very decisive. I don't like spend a lot of time like muddling over something. I kind of just like do it, submit it, and I'm done. So I was actually able, even though this isn't technically allowed, but I would work on some of my stuff while I was at my full-time job. Again, I'm not telling you to do that. And it also sounds like you're too busy to even be doing that.
Yeah, do your other stuff.
And then on weekends, I would also meet with other friends, shoot content, go to events. I would go to events after work. I was just working constantly, but because I loved my side hustle, that fulfilled me. And it didn't really feel like much of a job because it was something I enjoyed doing so much. So it gave me so much fulfillment. So if you're saying you love your podcast and you love your small community and it brings you joy, don't look at it so much as a job. Maybe try to front load content. So sit down on a Sunday or Saturday, choose one Sunday a month, record 3 episodes, bank them, and then time them and pulse them out from there. So you just really have to give yourself these like buckets of time, or maybe it's 1 hour before work that you work on it, and you're able then to have content. Maybe you could take on an intern to help you keep up with the Instagram, like the Instagram for the podcast, or help you engage with other accounts. I think if it's something you really enjoy, look at it as a hobby, not a other job. And I think you'll find ways to make it work. And then about setting boundaries, Mackenzie, I feel like you work a lot, so you might be able to talk to this. But what I did, and I don't know if this is great advice, but it really helped me. I used to work until 8 p.m., 9 p.m., same thing. And my dad actually said to me, I was starting a new job. And he said to me, when you start the new job, set the tone that you get your work done between these hours and you leave. Versus being like, oh yeah, I'm at your beck and call all the time. So what I did was, when I started my new job, I made it known. I'm one of those people, I like to get in earlier than everyone. So I would get in at like, let's say I would get in at 8. Most people would come in at 9, 9:30, or 10. So I would be in at 8. I'd send an email so people knew I was in working. And then at 6 o'clock, I'd say, okay, I'm done for the day. Do you need anything? And then I would bounce. And I just set that tone that I get my work done. If you're choosing to come in at 10:30 and work until 7:30, that's your prerogative. But I'm doing what I have to do. If I need to stay later because circumstances sometimes come up where you have to be later, you have to put in extra time because there's a big campaign, whatever. But I think when you start a new job, it's really great to right off the bat just kind of set a boundary for yourself. I don't know if you have any advice.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think like my old job I had was very much like you just did your work at work and like you were done after those hours. You couldn't really take it home because everything was like in the office. Here is very much, and any social media like kind of production job is very much like you can take it home and do it there. Like you can work from anywhere. I'm definitely learning. But it's also different for me because like this is where I've always wanted to work. So anything I do is like I love it.
You're excited.
But it's like it's not so much that I don't want to do it. It's just like you have to realize that you don't have time to do everything. So if there's like you have to be honest with people. You just have to say like if someone gives you a project that you don't have time for, or you know you can't put like 100% of your effort into, you just kind of have to be honest and say like, oh well, I could do like this and this maybe, but I don't think I could fully commit to that. And that's okay. People understand that. Like
they do.
That's why there's hundreds of employees that work here that someone else can take it or do stuff like that. But the other thing about like this side, like the podcast and stuff, I think you just have to understand, like you said, it was like a little bit of a hustle. Like if that's what you really want to do, you just have to understand that you have to put in that work, and you might be working until midnight, like doing the extra stuff, but it will pay off in the end, but it will be like tough for a small period of time in order to kind of like build that brand and do what you want to do.
Yeah. And in that same vein, having a side hustle is just that, a side hustle. Most people that start companies aren't fortunate enough to just not have a full-time job and be like, I'm gonna start a podcast today, and my parents are gonna pay for my rent, and pay for my lifestyle. That's not the reality for most people like you and I. I had to have 2 jobs because if I wanted to be successful, I was luckily able, after 3 years or 2.5 years of having 2 jobs, then I was able to go out and do it full time. I would have never been able to do it full time if I didn't work 2 jobs. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you need to earn it in a way, not earn it, but like, you need to put in your dues if you really are passionate about this, because things aren't just handed to you. We're not like just dancing on TikTok and getting 1 million followers in a day. Like that happens to 1 in a million people.
Right, exactly.
So you really have to put in hard work, and it sounds like you're a motivated person. So I have faith in you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, last one. Ask Alyssa. First off, I want to say I love you and your podcast, and I am a fellow SHU alum. So hey girl. Hey girl. I recently just moved home after graduating with my master's, and I'm currently job hunting for a teaching job. I want to move out as soon as I'm able to, but need some advice as to apartment hunting. I've lived with roommates for the past 5 years and would prefer to live alone or just with one close friend. I'm wondering your advice regarding a few things. Do you have a set amount I should have saved before I move out? How do you budget for utilities and food and a social life while living on your own? Do you like living on your own more than living with someone else? Did you move home after college and have any tips to transition back for the time being? Any advice is so appreciated. Thank you so, so much. I think I did it all backwards, so I'm going to tell you what not to do because I did it the wrong way.
Yeah, do the opposite.
Yeah. So what I did was I moved out right away. I got a job 2 days after I graduated. Yeah. So my sister had an apartment. I slept there during the weekdays for the first month of my new job because I didn't want to commute.
Right.
So I slept at my sister's free. Great. Moved in a month later to an apartment with my sister as my roommate. Full transparency, my parents paid like 1/3 of my rent for the first year. They said, basically, we were in a situation where my sister needed a roommate and I wanted to move into the city. And instead of my sister getting a random roommate, my parents said, Alyssa's not making a lot, so we'll help her out with rent so you're both able to move in
together.
Exactly. So it was kind of helping her so she didn't have a rando. And it was helping me because I couldn't really afford to move out at that time.
Yeah.
In hindsight, and I love my parents, they did me a disservice.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. They said to me, we will do this for 1 year. 1 year later, my salary didn't change. I now was living in an apartment that was too expensive. I should have saved money.
Right.
I should have been better prepared. And while they were trying to help me, and I'm so incredibly blessed and thankful, it actually kind of hurt me because I didn't have the tools to understand like the value of $1. And I was living above my means because
You
was
had the support.
a spoiled
in
brat.
order to do that, yeah.
Yes, and that's just me being completely frank and honest. In hindsight, what I should have done was moved home, saved money, and been a mature enough person to pay for my own rent.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm explaining this with you is because I wish I had waited a little more, because then I always felt like I was playing catch up. Like my job, I've been very transparent about how my first job, I wasn't making a lot of money. And I always just felt like I was like drowning in money, like drowning in like, maybe like I might not be able to pay next month's rent. I always felt like I was living paycheck to paycheck for many years until I was able to actually have 2 jobs. That was the only time I was able to catch up, was when I was working in PR and having my business on the side. So I think that my advice to you would be, don't put yourself in a situation where you're feeling completely strapped for cash. And I don't know what area you live in, but let's say you live in the New York area, maybe move to Hoboken first, where
I
rent's
lived
a
in
little
Hoboken.
less.
I love it there.
Exactly. Maybe you live in Brooklyn, maybe you live in Hoboken, or maybe live home for a little bit to save money, because you don't want to feel overwhelmed. And I think money is one of the biggest stressors in life. And a lot of my financial struggles, I had to unfortunately learn the hard way. And if I had to go back and tell myself, I would have done things differently.
Yeah, I think it's hard because not everybody like lives close to where they get their first job. But I do think if you have the opportunity to live at home or live somewhere, like when I first graduated, I had a job too right after I graduated, and I lived with like my aunt and my cousins, because they lived, and I would basically commute basically an hour-ish, but it like gave me an opportunity to kind of like find a roommate and not just have to like move in with someone random and find a nice like place to live. And then even when I moved out of there, I moved to Hoboken, and I loved Hoboken. It's definitely a great option. But it's also hard because not everybody has that option. But also there's like subletting apartments. Like there's so many ways to find like places that you can afford. But yeah, I think if you do have the opportunity, it's like you don't look at it as a downfall. It's kind of like it gives you the opportunity to like save enough money to then actually go and find a place that you really want to live.
And have financial freedom. Then.
Exactly, yeah.
One other thing, you asked a few questions. I think I'd recommend living with one other person at least when you first move out. One, because it's much cheaper than living alone.
Yeah, definitely.
And 2, because you're in this stage of your life where you just graduated, and I think you'll want to have fun and you'll want to have people there. And I think I'm now, as a 30-year-old, so happy to live alone. I don't think years ago it would have been good for me.
Yeah, I love having roommates. My roommates are also like my 2 friends from college, so that's obviously easier for me to say. But I like just even going home and like having people there and I have extreme FOMO, so that's my biggest thing. I'm like, oh, there's always someone to hang out with. They're always here. But yeah, obviously different stages of life. Like eventually you're going to live on your own, but maybe take this time to like live with someone and like learn how to coexist with someone and stuff like that. So.
Exactly. And then in terms of budgeting for utilities and food and social life, again, I never was good at it. I made money. I spent money. I would cry because I was like, I don't have any money.
Yeah.
Like I was a shit show. And I share all of this, guys, to just like shed light on like the struggles that people go through. I never want to sound like I'm not like grateful, or I think that was my reality.
Right.
I tend to learn the hard way. In hindsight now, I would have saved more money, have a savings account, which I tried to have, but I would dip into it every single day.
Yep.
So what I actually wound up doing, you know how you have like your Bank of America, your checking account, and then you have your savings account, but you could just transfer the money.
Yeah, so easily.
What I wound up doing, which I recommend, was I opened up a Chase savings account that had no debit card associated to it. I couldn't access it unless I went to the bank to take out money.
Yes.
So what I started doing was just transferring savings into there.
That.
So I literally couldn't just go on my phone and transfer it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I have that too. So I don't I have my debit card to my checking account, but not my my savings just like sits there.
So maybe open up a separate account for savings, and then obviously just, find a range that you're comfortable with paying, and then budget out utilities and be like, okay, this is how much I have to spend. This is how much I have for fun. And you just have to kind of find a way. I've never been good at it. I'm not really a great money person. Now I'm much better.
Yeah.
Now I save every month. Now I'm investing and I'm like more mature, but I think that came with like a lot of really tough life lessons.
Yeah, and like you'll learn. There's also this app that I use. I think it's called Mint, and basically you connect it to your bank account, and it's like totally safe. It's through whatever like the overarching account is like very like known, whatever it is. I forget what it is. But, and you can like put in a budget. And I never thought about a budget until I moved out, and my dad was like, you need a budget. And like, he helped me with it, obviously. And it really does help. Like, you put your rent in there, your groceries, and then you have your miscellaneous stuff, and you kind of can see like how much money you're making versus how much you're spending. And it actually is so helpful. Yeah. And it like connects right to your bank account. And again, it's super safe. Like, I've used it for years, like since I graduated college.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great tip.
It's called Mint. I think it's just called Mint. But yeah, it's like, it's super helpful. And
that sounds like the best advice.
It's so easy to keep tracks. Like, it shows you all like graphs about how much money you made this month, or how much money like you earned technically versus how much you spent, stuff like that. So it's really helpful.
I think I need this.
I know. No, literally, it's so helpful.
Wow, that actually sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, that does it for today's Ask Alyssa segment. Don't forget to DM me, Tea with Publyssity, or just Publyssity. Put the first word as Ask Alyssa, so I know that that's what your DM is about. And as always, we keep it anonymous. And now we're going to spill some tea. So there was a lot. There was a lot to unpack with the Chrissy Teigen / Michael Costello drama. I talked about it a little bit last week. A lot has come out since. Chrissy Teigen, I talked about last week, came out with an apology. Then Michael Costello, who's a fashion designer, basically came out saying Chrissy Teigen has made me suicidal because she blacklisted me from the entertainment industry and no one would work with me, yada, yada, yada. This whole thing, we all felt completely awful for him, myself included. Then Chrissy Teigen fires back with, hey, dude, those screenshots aren't legitimate. My name is spelt wrong. You're saying they're from 2014, but that version of Instagram wasn't even around until 2020. So basically they debunked everything that he posted. He's still standing by it. Chrissy Teigen's like, look, I'm owning up to being a troll, but like this just simply isn't true. So I don't know who to believe at this point. Social media is so messy. I think people just need to freaking chill the hell out. And I don't know. It seems like the screenshots definitely were fake, but it doesn't excuse Chrissy's behavior for everything else that she's done in the past. So either way, it's still just like a gross, sticky situation. The Keeping Up with the Kardashians reunion part 2 was last night, and I thought it was great overall, but I just wished there was a little more. Like, we got answers. Like, Khloe finally admitted to having had a nose job, which I thought was really cool. She said that she'd never admitted it before because no one had ever point blank asked her. She's like, if you just asked me, I would have said.
Yeah.
You know, they touched on a lot of her online bullying and how awful it is. And it actually makes me really sad what the internet's come to. And I wish that platforms like Instagram and TikTok and Twitter did a better job at regulating hate comments. I think that there needs to be like a bigger initiative around it. And I just wish, like, you know, Andy Cohen asked Scott, do you approve of Kourtney and Travis? And he was like, yeah, I give them my blessing.
Yeah.
But I wish he dug into Kourtney and Travis more. Like, I wish he asked her, is this the love of your life? Are you guys going to get married?
Right.
Like, I wanted more details.
Yeah.
Kendall confirmed that she is, in fact, dating Devin Booker. She called him her boyfriend, which we never really get such a concrete confirmation from her. So that was big. There was just a little bit like more of the dynamics I wish he dug even deeper into. Like, he asked Scott about dating Amelia, but he didn't expand on their relationship. Like, I want the dirt.
Yeah.
I wish there was a part 3 because I wanted more. I wanted in depth of each conversation.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard because they probably went through the questions with Andy Cohen beforehand, and they were like, you can't ask that, or you can't ask this. Like, there was probably so much screening like beforehand.
Or there was probably so much, they probably sat there for hours and we saw 2 hours.
Yeah, that's very true. I always forget about that.
So we didn't even get to see a lot of it. Yeah. So Also, some things I want to spill the tea on. So I've been thinking long and hard about things that I think are cheugy.
Oh my gosh.
Is that how you say it?
Cheugy, yeah, I think so.
And I have two. And here's the thing. No judgment, guys. I am this girl. I am currently her, and I was formerly her. But I think she is cheugy. And I'm going to tell you who she is. So guess what? The all white aesthetic houses, cheugy. Like, you know, every blogger in Texas has like the all white, the Restoration Hardware cloud couch,
yeah.
the only white things. Cheugy. Guess what younger Gen Zers are doing? They're thrifting. They're finding interesting art pieces. Mm-hmm. I am over the minimalistic look. My apartment's minimalistic, but I have pops of color. I have interesting pieces of art, things that I've inherited from my grandparents, my great-grandparents, which makes it interesting. Just buying like a vase from CB2 and buying the Restoration Hardware cloud couch, like, isn't a vibe. It's cheugy.
Yeah.
Again,
cheugy.
I'm one to blame. I've been there. I've done that. I am currently kind of this girl. Cheugy. Another thing, super cheugy. Influencers who have the curated feeds. Mm-hmm. Like, again, I am this girl. I was this girl. Not as much anymore. But the person that's like posting with like, you know, like the Starbucks and like the fall leaves. And like, I feel like that is so not in anymore. Like what's in on social media is just being your authentic self and showing your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Not freaking posing with a pumpkin.
No, I know. And I think that's in part from like TikTok, because
100%.
It's just like people being themselves and then they accidentally go viral.
TikTok 100% changed the game.
Yeah.
And now when I see people's feeds that are so staged, I cringe because I'm just like, I can't imagine like being with like my future husband and being like, babe, like hold this while I do this. And like just live in the moment.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Guys, again, I was this girl. Like, I know I'm being hypocritical.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just funny to me because as I've been scrolling on Instagram, I've noticed my taste in content changing.
Yeah.
And the people that I follow on TikTok are becoming the people I follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I enjoy their content so much more because it's just more fun and liberated. And, you know?
Yeah. I think Rod talks about that in the interview. He's like, he says a quote. He's like, I'm a Nick Miller in like a world of CCs, and he's like, I just don't care. Like, I don't post on my Instagram. Like, it's all my just regular content.
But that's what everyone from TikTok is doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great. Okay, guys, that's it for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. It really helps me out. And as always, follow me on Instagram because that's where I share merch drops, episode trailers, everything that is new. And I will see you next Tuesday.